hello, and welcome to hopefully another edutaining episode of Create Simple Meals, where we only have 3 rules. You must have passion, you must have patience, and you must be willing to practice. So today we're going to do Birria Tacos. Now, for those of you not familiar with birria, is a traditional Mexican stew, but you can make it into a taco. It's from the Jalisco state of Mexico. But I went to a brewery just opened up by my house the other night, and I was sitting there, and there was a birria taco guy there, and they called it a quesarito, whatever the heck it was. Anyway, I got in my head, I'm like, how hard is it? Because I always thought birria was made with, goat. Hence, my little cousin's shirt, goat like. Anyway, traditionally it was made with goat, but it can be used with other meats as well. But it's basically a traditional slow cooked stew that they use. So this morning I got up, I seasoned up my meat, and I went and seared it off because it does take a while to cook. Now, birria can either be cooked in like a Dutch oven. You sear the meat off, put it in the Dutch oven. You can cook it in your regular oven for about 3 to 4 hours, or you can do it in a slow cooker like I did today, which will take you about 8 hours. So before we get further going on, let's give you some of the ingredients that went into it. So with the birria, we basically season off some chuck roast with just salt and pepper, and then to that we actually sorry, something keep pop up here. To that we took some chilies. I'm gonna butcher these names again. You're gonna hear this more than once. It's guajillo, morita, and I use whatever. Go to createsimplemeals.com. You can see the whole recipe. Anyway, took that, toasted those chilies off, rehydrated them in some hot beef broth, and then mixed that together with some onions, some cilantro, some tomato, a little bit of cumin, a bunch of other spices. Mixed that up, poured that over the meat, and went from there. Now, because it's an 8-hour process, I obviously can't do that live, but because I love y'all, and I know y'all love me, I did take the liberty of getting up early this morning, starting off my day, preparing for tonight's show. So let's go ahead and see how this process actually goes. So for the birria, we have about 3 pounds of chuck roast that we've seasoned with some salt and pepper. That's pretty much it. But before we sear that, we're going to go ahead and sear the chilies for our sauce. So the chilies now, and I'm gonna butcher these names. There's 3 types of chilies we're using. We're using guajillo chilies, morita chilies, and pasilla chilies. Yeah, I'm reading it because I promise you I'm gonna butcher these names. But we're gonna go ahead and let's start charring them off. You want to be careful not to burn these. Might as well put them seeds on there too. And while that's doing that, we're going to go ahead and take this chuck roast and begin searing that. So once we're done searing the chuck roast and the chilies, we're going to put the chilies in here, which we have in there some onions, some cilantro, some Roma tomatoes, some garlic. We're going to season it off with a little bit of oregano, and a little bit of cumin, and some cinnamon. Now, quick cheat method. If you don't want to go through the hassle of browning these chilies, or grilling these chilies off, you can just simply use, and the recipe on Create Simple Meals has this on there, you can just use a chili powder, preferably a Mexican style chili powder, but if not, just a regular old chili powder. But we're going to go ahead and kick it up a notch and toast our own. Still a simple meal. We're just adding a little extra flavor to it. Once the chilies are done charring, blend this up with a little, some hot chicken broth, because you got to reconstitute the chilies also, because they're dried chilies. So you're going to let this sit in here with a little bit of warm warm beef broth, along with all those other aromatics and vegetables, and fruit technically, because tomato is a fruit. All those other fruit, vegetables, and aromatics. We're going to let that sit turn that into a chili paste, and then we're going to pour that over our chuck roast, and we're going to let it sit here and slow cook for about 7 to 8 hours, because I'm slow cooking it. You can also do this in a Dutch oven, warm it up and put it inside your regular oven at about 350, 400 for about 4 hours. But again, the full instructions are on createsimplemeals.com. You can also, you don't have to have a griddle to sear this off. I'm doing this because I'm actually getting ready to head to work, and this is faster for me to get this done and get to work and then get back and finish the show. But you can sear this, if you have one of these multi-cookers, you can sear it in there, or you can sear it in your Dutch oven or a regular cast iron skillet. Get y'all a shot in there. So if you kind of see right there, is basically the color. We're just trying to get just a little bit of char on them. Kind of give it a little bit more smokiness and wake them flavors up a little bit. But again, you want to be careful not to burn these. And I think we more or less done with them, folks. So let's go ahead and put these in the blender. Oh yeah, I can smell those. We're going to push these down in there. Push these down as far as we can get them. Now, I've never, this is my first time doing this recipe, and I'm going to tell you how it came about. I was at a brewery, and there was a place there, they had some Birria Tacos selling at the brewery, a taco truck, and I tried them. I'm like, these are pretty doggone good. And so I decided I'm going to go ahead and try and do it on my own. This was Friday night I went to the brewery. So, like I said, it came out, the Birria was so good, I wanted to try it myself. But although I'm using 3 specific types of chilies, I don't know, so feel free to experiment. I don't know if you could also just use any type of dried chilies that you want. We're going to go ahead and use these because these are the chilies that I looked up and researched when I was doing this recipe. And I also want to make sure it didn't get too spicy. So I tried to pick chilies, you know, that had a lower Scoville rating or heat rating. Let's go let that sit a little bit. I'm going to blend this down just a little bit so I can give me some space in here. All right. Now I can go ahead and push these all the way down in there. Now normally you would have done this in a regular old bowl, but again, I got to get to work. So let's go ahead and add in those spices I told you about. And some broth. I'm going to push this all the way down in there. And it's going to mix up when we get that done. And we're going to add in about a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. And while we're letting this sear, we're going to let these go ahead and just soak for a minute. And you want to make sure you thoroughly sear this chuck roast. So I'm going to flip this back over in a minute, but I want to get a nice sear on there on all sides. The other advantage of using the griddle, it goes a little bit faster. And as I said, I do got to get to work. You want to sear the ends, everything. Let that do its final sear. And now we can go ahead and start finishing up this sauce. And you want to blend this sauce into a smooth paste. Why do we always put our hand over the top? I guess you're afraid it's going to blow off. Let me see, can I let y'all see how that looks? And I'm going to get this a nice, not too spicy at all, lots of flavor. So now, from that, go ahead and start cleaning up some stuff here. We're going to add the seared chuck roast. Matter of fact, I can go ahead and take this off now. The seared chuck roast, we're going to add that to our slow cooker. And then we're going to pour that sauce all over it. Add in about 5 of these bay leaves. 1, 2, 4. And we're going to let this cook for, again, because I'm slow cooking it, I'm going to let it cook basically while the whole time I'm at work. So the next 8 hours, I'm going to let this cook. But again, if you were going to do this in a Dutch oven, you would do the exact same steps, but already have your oven preheated to about 350, 400 degrees, and you would pop that thing, the whole Dutch oven, cover it up, and you'd pop that into your oven and let it braise for about 4 hours or until the meat is fork tender and just shredding off the bone. But when we come back in about 8 hours, we'll go ahead and shred this up, and then we'll finish making the Birria Tacos. All right, so you see that's the process. I'm going to tell y'all something right now. I should not do pre-tape shows in the middle of a live show, because them whole 10 minutes y'all was watching that, I've been drinking. Anyway, so let's get on back to it. So, before I forget, next week, it's kind of a segue. Next week, we will be doing a question and answer session, because the holidays are coming up. I know a lot of us, we stress out about it. So next week, we will be doing a question and answers session on Create Simple Meals. So send in your questions, your comments, your queries, whatever plagues you about holiday meals, go ahead and send them in, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so as you see, this morning we went on and we did the slow cook. I already pre-shredded this. And if y'all watch any of my other shows that requires shredding, I use a hand mixer with the regular old mixing blades on it, and that just shreds the meat. But as you see in here, that meat literally just fell apart. So now, although the recipe doesn't call for this, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take some of this meat right now, and I'm going to throw it on this griddle behind me, and I'm going to sear it off. Just give it a nice little char to it. After that, we're going to take some tortilla shells, put on a little bit of cheese, put the meat on there, let that melt down, fold it over, and that's going to be it. We're going to dip it in the sauce first. Now, for those of you that's on low carb, I found these Well, I didn't find them today, but I got some today because my wife is on low carb. These Mission tortilla shells, unfortunately flour, but for those of you living that keto or low carb lifestyle, these things are only 4 net carbs. So if you're only gonna eat, 2 tacos, it's only 8 carbs for the day. All right, but we're not on low carb. Let's go ahead and get to what we're gonna get to. So the first thing, let me go ahead and switch y'all over to, make sure I don't hit the wrong button, over here. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a shell and we're gonna dip it into the sauce. So the same sauce that you had, that we did the meat in, that's we dipping that in. I'm gonna go ahead and put about 3 of these in here right now because I'm lazy. As I flip one, we go from there. And then we're gonna take some of this meat, grab me a little bit of this meat. Actually, I'm gonna take a lot of this meat because I know I gotta do a bunch at a time. And we're just gonna sear this off right there, just to give it a nice char. All right, so now we take these tortilla shells, we're gonna put them on there. Grab me another one. Put that one on there. Woo, that's hot. Now we're gonna take a little bit of this cheese. We're gonna put that on there. And this is a wax of cheese. You can also use regular mozzarella, but I want to stay as authentic as I could. Let's put some of that cheese on there. And I think my wife just came on, about to do me a low carb one for her in a minute. Now, normally I'd put the cilantro on top, but I'm putting the cilantro right on in there with this. Now, I just found this out. Apparently, when you put the cheese on it, they call it a queso taco or something like that. And it was the same one I had on our Friday night. But I ain't into all the names, and I don't want to butcher nobody's language, but you put the cheese on it, that gummit, and you go ahead and melt it. So, now as that's doing there, go ahead, take us back over there. And we're going to take this meat that we're searing off. Let me turn this heat up a little bit. And we're going to put that right on. That's too much in there. In that taco. Put a little bit more. Now, this is the part where I'm probably going to mess up on, but oh well. You fold that over as such. And we're going to let them go ahead and sear on that side there to get a nice little kind of crunch to it. Close this down. Tyrone, what I killed it with? I'm sorry, I wasn't watching the feed. What I killed it on? Hopefully it was something good. All right, so those searing. Take y'all back on over there. I'm going to flip them again. Always flip on the, see how this edge is right here? Hopefully y'all can see my hand. But always flip that way. I've learned the hard way. Flipping it on the open end will have you lose some meat. So flip it on the fold. Now I'm hoping that's a tight enough shot where y'all can kind of see that char that's getting on there. You would think, now I'm finna toot my own horn right now. You would think living with somebody like me who loves to cook, and I do so freely, that when I ask what you want for dinner, or I ask you, are you eating, you'd respond immediately be like, I want this, or yes, I'm eating. But I got a bunch of folks, except for the real AP, don't ever respond to me. It's starting to hurt my feelings. All right, so those them sit there and get us a plate. Now, what to serve this with? Now, when I had it on Friday night, I had it with, they served some Birria French fries. But in my humble opinion, you can just eat this by itself. You don't need no side. But if you want to do some beans or whatnot, you can do that. But I think this is good enough. Go ahead and go there. Let me grab my Well, I'm about to leave y'all, and I really don't want to because it feels like we ain't been together that long because I pre-taped 10 minutes of the show. All right, let's go ahead and let y'all. That wasn't the most prettiest plating. But y'all get the gist of it. All right. Now, is this, okay, so I'm sorry, folks. Good friend of mine, Keisha, just made a comment about cozy meals. So, my family has a long history with Latin-inspired food. Turn this down before I burn my butt off. And when we were dating, before we got married, me, my homegirl, Biscuit Head, Little Head, and my wife, we'd always go to this spot here in the Southern California area called Cozy Meals. So, nah, Ann ain't going to no Cozy Meals because she got Jam and John over here, and I think I'm a little bit better than Cozy Meals. Sorry, Cozy Meals. That's just what I feel. Anyway, let's go ahead and try these. See if they're cool enough. And if you just now tuned in, what we did today was a birria taco. So I know some of you used to birrias being goat, but it can be any meat. It's a traditional Mexican dish from the Jalisco state of Mexico that is basically a stewed meat. So we stewed off, we took some chuck roast, we seasoned with some salt and pepper, and then we seared that off on all sides. Then we took and made our own chili sauce with some 3 different types of chili. I'm not going to repeat them. Go to createsimple.com and you can go ahead and see the chilies I use. And we rehydrated them in some warm beef broth, seasoned up with a little bit of cumin, a little bit of oregano, some onions, some cilantro, some garlic, and some Roma tomatoes. Blended it up into a sauce. We poured it over our meat, and then we slow cooked it for 7 hours. If you don't want to slow cook, you can also do that same process in like a Dutch oven. Preheat your oven to about 350, and you can cook it in the oven in about 4 hours. On either case, this is not an immediate meal. It's a simple meal, but not an immediate meal, so you are going to take some time to do it. All right, let's go ahead and get to the take tip. That was my long way of waiting for this to cool down so I don't burn my mouth while I'm talking to y'all. All right, so let's go ahead. I ain't gonna lie. So, a friend of mine, matter of fact, I told Tyrone earlier today on my way home. A friend of mine had posted Birria Tacos, her new favorite dish. So I told Tyrone, hey bro, I'm kind of nervous because I ain't never made this before. This is literally my first time making it. And I'm like, I gotta bring my A game. I brought my A game. I brought my A game on this one. And I don't brag on my food often. What I'm good at, I'm good at. What I'm great at, I'm great at. What I'm okay at, I'm okay at. I brought my A game on this one. Trust me, try this recipe. Real simple. Matter of fact, y'all know Super Bowl's coming up. Playoffs is coming up. This is one of them things you can do in advance. Make a big old pot of it. Let everybody serve themselves. They ain't got to do it this style here. Just put the dadgum shells up there. They'll make their own tacos. But this here is a winner chicken dinner. Trust me on this. Spices on point. Flavors on point. It's not spicy far as hot at all. So those chilies I use that I can't pronounce, please go ahead and try and use them or play with it. Or, as I said in the little montage, if you don't want to go through all what I did with the grilling off the chilies or whatnot, just use some chili powder. Use some regular old chili powder, and you're going to get a similar flavor. I just want to be as authentic as I can to let you know that when it comes to cooking, we only got them 3 rules. You must have passion, you must have patience, and you must be willing to practice. So we practice doing this simple meal for y'all today. Remember, next week, same time, same bat channel, we will be having a question and answer session. Please give me any questions that you have regarding your holiday worries and woes and how to make holiday a whole lot easier. And please, again, remember, subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that notification bell if you're on there. Please like and follow us on Facebook. Please follow us on Instagram. Do not forget to tap into us on TikTok. For this show and all previous shows and recipes, visit createsimple.com. Email any of your questions at askme@createsimple.com. Hit that chat button over there, and I can talk to you directly. And please share this video with your friends and your family alike. Until next week, we hope that y'all come in with y'all chats and comments. I will see y'all. Happy cooking. Love and thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in. What was his last question? Oh, yeah, if I stay on my plate too long, the food is good. I'll see y'all next week.